Let me get my notes the right way. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Bishop. As she said, I'm founder and CEO of Butterfly Farms. We are a new nonprofit here in Kentucky. I started this early February of 2023. I'm a believer and follower of Jesus, a wife, a mom, a nurse, a photographer, and a missionary. But God calls me to be more. And in 2022, while praying through my identity, he said, "You are a rescuer of women." I want to share with you this calling today and the vision that God placed for a village for these women. Butterfly Farms Incorporated was founded earlier. We are a gospel-centered 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to empowering women survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking by providing safe housing and an atmosphere for healing. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery, and it's at its highest it's ever been. In 1867, when slavery was abolished, there were 27 million slaves at that time. Today, there are 40.3 million slaves. Sex trafficking is a $150 billion industry, and the U.S. is paying top dollar. There are 195 nations in the world, and the United States ranks number 6 among the highest for human trafficking. It's the children being kidnapped, it's our friends doing our nails at the massage parlor, it's the addict having to meet that craving, it's the mom next door with no other option to care for her family. It's the woman who may think it's just domestic violence, but it's so much more. God is calling us and urging us to help his children, and when God calls you, you don't hesitate. In Mark 2, 1 through 12, it shares of a story of Jesus, 4 men, and a paralytic. And I hope that you're ready to be inspired and a little uncomfortable today because God is moving. First, we start with this story off with Jesus being present. Things happen when Jesus is in the room and in our home. Miracles happen, people are changed, the darkness turns to light. I've experienced some great darkness in my life, but God has called us to be more, and God has showed us greater light. We can get so caught up in the darkness of the world, but when Jesus is present, everything changes. When Jesus is speaking the word, people come. When Jesus is present, the people will be abundant. Second, we have these 4 men who believe in the healing power of Jesus, and they see a problem that needs to be fixed. In 2020, I had my first human trafficking victim while working as a forensic nurse in the emergency department. After 24 hours in the ER, the FBI finally found placement for her to finally start her healing. 2020 became the first year where I started to learn all that I could about human trafficking, and that it's not just the abductions to go overseas. It's happening to our neighbors in our backyard and in our community. And that's why the umbrella is so broad here at Butterfly Farms, because maybe, just maybe, when she's safe, she can start to uncover all the darkness that was and start to see the light. God showed me these missing pieces in our system. A huge missing piece was for women for safety and support. The passion to help start this ministry was started in 2020, but really came to fruition when I walked through the doors at Thistle Farms Cafe in Nashville earlier this year. Our system, our community is failing these women, and it's time for a change. Third, there's these 4 men that they knew they had to get this man to Jesus. They couldn't do it alone, and they knew the paralytic couldn't do it. So they relied on each other for strength and support. They don't judge the paralytic, but they know that Jesus and only Jesus can heal. I took the first step into starting Butterfly Farms, and that first time I struggled to find 3 board members to even start the nonprofit, but now today, 10 months later, there's 8 on the board. And even more who are wanting to help behind us. We cannot do this alone. We experience obstacles, so many obstacles at every single turn. And we need help in carrying the mat and getting these women to Jesus. And it may take some breaking in roofs to get them there. Fourth, there was this paralytic who had to choose to get up and walk. And this might be our hardest part. We can educate our community and support these survivors every day, but in the end, it's their choice whether they get up and walk. It takes an average of 7 to 8 times for a victim to leave the abusive situation and to not come back. Our model recognizes that and allows for grace. And we will support, equip, and empower every step of the way, each time, but the real change happens when she decides to make it happen. Butterfly Farms is filling in the gaps. Our first phase is to provide a residential program for up to 90 days to get them into long-term care. That's the most needed step in our state right now, and so that's our first step. Have I stepped on your toes, or are you ready to break open some roofs with me? If you're ready to get up and walk, come and talk to me, and let's get you some support. If you're ready to carry the mat and break open the roofs, here are just a couple ways to help. Prayer. Spiritual warfare is like no other. Since the very first day I just said yes, something has been happening in our lives ever since. And so the prayer is the biggest need right now because this is such a dark ministry, but we know that there is light. Monetary donations for our residential program, it will cost about $4,000 a month, but that doesn't even include salaries. That's just to get our doors open and to start providing care. Supply donations, which you all have graciously already said yes to. Networking, maybe you know someone who needs our help, connect us. Maybe you know someone who already has a passion for this. Get them in contact with me. We'll sit down, talk, have coffee. We'll start the fight together. Share our events. Our next event is January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. We're having a month-long walkathon. You commit to 40.3 miles for the 40.3 million slaves in the world. Follow us on Facebook for our ongoing events. God is moving in mighty ways, and will you join me in the fight? Thank you all for letting me share today and for providing your light each and every day in your lives.